So my name is Jamin Cousins, and I am out of the Minneapolis area, Minneapolis, Minnesota, where it gets very, very cold in the winter and very hot in the summer. So we have a lot of extreme temperatures in my area. So yeah, I live just south of Minneapolis by about a half hour. My title is branch manager. I manage a small branch in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area.
Awesome. Yeah, my good friend Karen Lingren lives up there in Grand Rapids, and it's very cold. You
Very
guys
cold in
have
Grand
floating
Rapids.
foundations and other things like that that are unique in the loan business that I had never
Yes.
heard of when I live in Idaho.
Yes, yes, lots of unique construction types. In fact, fun side note, we were actually fortunate to build one of the most energy efficient homes in the state up on the North Shore of Minnesota by Lake Superior, because it's a cabin that we have up there, and it was some kind of revolutionary framing technology because it gets so cold up there that it's like we had to do something special just to keep the property good in the extreme winters.
Love that. And how long have you been in the mortgage business?
This is my eighth year.
And how did you get here? How did you start? Somebody just said go in mortgage business, or you just tripped into it, or you had family? I mean, I've heard all the stories.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like nobody says they want to be a mortgage person when they grow up. And so I feel like we all kind of stumble into it in one,
Yeah.
in one way,
Yeah.
shape, or form or another. And so I actually had a previous career in church world. I was a musician, a keyboardist, a DJ, a producer. And so I had kind of a whole different career doing that for 10, 15 years. Worked in some big churches, DJ'd a lot of my own stuff, produced some albums. So had a whole different career in music for many years. And then I started having a family. And I had three kids, and I said to myself, well, I better start making some money at some point here if I'm going to do this family thing. So, so that career kind of wound down, kind of a long story there, but I was connected to my brother-in-law, my wife's brother, who worked at a big national bank, one of the biggest banks in the country, that had a big location here in Minnesota. So he kind of got me a job in their centralized refinance department. And that was my foot in the door. That's where I started
That's how
learning
you
the
cut your
ropes.
teeth on refis.
That's right. Yeah. I say I didn't learn a ton from that job because again, it was this ginormous bank and I was, just a small cog in the wheel, but I learned what DTI was, LTV, FICO, and that's pretty much it.
And you learn that they can't come through the phone and get you. If you had to dial out, that is a skill in itself, Not being
Yes.
afraid to pick up the phone and talk to a stranger is a skill in itself, right?
Yes, for sure. It certainly wasn't a long-term fit. I was only there for about a year before I realized, okay, if I'm going to make it in this business, I should really, do something of my own and kind of build something of my own. But I'm really grateful for that year because it really gave me kind of some sales chops and some helped me work through some fear of rejection and all that, and really kind of built some grit in me, I think, for the next season.
Yeah. So then you decided, okay, I've done this. I kind of cut my teeth. Now what? What happens after that? That first year?
So I was at that big bank, 2016 to 2017. At the end of 2017, again, I was in a refinance department, so rates were kind of going up with the political environment and elections and everything. So the refi boom, I came in on the tail end of that, where that business was starting to dry up. And again, I was attracted to the mortgage business because of the entrepreneurial nature of it. As a musician and a DJ, I was very entrepreneurial. I built my business by just my sphere and relationships and everything. So to me, it didn't seem like that much of a stretch to just transition a lot of those skills into this business. So got my license very beginning of 2018. I was sort of recruited or connected with a colleague of mine from the music world that was an originator at an IMB. And so she kind of got them to give me a shot. I had very little experience at that point, but I met with them a couple times and they said, yeah, let's give this a shot. So started my business at the beginning of 2018. And, with any success you experience in life, yes, there's some skill and some personality stuff. There's also a lot of luck, right? So I got on the business in 2018 and 19, and then obviously COVID years. And so that's very fortunate timing to kind of get in, get a little bit established, learn my way a little bit, and then and it was so funny, Mandy, because again, that was my third and fourth years in the business. And I was like, whoa, this is great. I've made it.
Cool. I can trip out my front door and find a home loan.
Exactly. All I
somebody with, right?
all I gotta do is answer my phone and I'm closing loans. This isn't hard at all,
Yeah.
So it was quite the experience.
And then fast forward to the taper tantrum of 22, I call it. That's my term, maybe. When rates went up almost 2 points in a month, right? What happens then for you? I mean, you've established yourself. At least you've closed some business where you focused on real estate partners, or just really your database and marketing your database. How did that look, and how did you keep it going?
Yeah, it was quite the wake up call. I mean, it's always super fun for me to talk to folks that have been in the business as long as you have. I wish I could interview you, because I'd love to just soak up your knowledge. But
you'll read the book, I guess. Yeah, there you go.
There we go. Yeah, that's what I'll do. But I had no idea what I didn't know. Right, experiencing the boom of COVID, and then the taper tantrum. That's a great phrase for. I'm gonna use that if you don't mind. But yeah, it was a real recalibration is what I call it, because I mean, my income went down by 75%.
Yes.
From one year to the next. And I had no idea. I mean, again, I thought I had made it in those COVID years. I was going to sail off into the sunset and retire early and all these things. I was buying rental properties those years, some of which went very poorly at the same time as my income was declining by that much. So it was a very tough couple of years, very rough, especially for someone like me that had not been through a market cycle. I'd only really experienced the uptick and never really a downturn. So it was my first downturn. And I feel like if you can make it through your first downturn, that's kind of a necessary hazing, initiation, whatever you want to call it, if you're going to be in this business long term, because you need to learn to weather the booming times and the famine times and find your way through it all.
Yeah. And I think you bring up a really good point. A lot of people, 46% of our peers are gone, right? Because they couldn't pivot or recalibrate, as you say, in that time. And I would always tell my team, just save your acorns, because this 2021 market is not normal. Don't go buy boats, don't go, don't do anything crazy, because this is like one of those windfalls that, is just crazy. And it's probably not going to happen again in our lifetime, unless something very, very bad happens. And I don't think anybody wants that. And so I think that those of us that have stuck it out and we figured out how to pivot, and we stayed focused on for me during pandemic was staying focused on my purchase business during that time, in addition to helping serve those clients with my database that needed refinances, right? So I think some people got so focused on refinances, they kind of let their purchase business go, and then they had to that was even harder to overcome. With you, it sounds like through your self-employed business, your church, your fellowship around other people around you, it sounds like you were very blessed in that part of your life. And so you took that database, and I'm assuming you built off that, and then you took the opportunities for those real estate partners. Is that kind of now today, is that where your business comes from?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, again, I was very fortunate to be coming out of this previous career that I had built a huge network that I wasn't really aware of it. It's just kind of who I was. I was doing this work, connecting with people, playing music with a lot of people, and it just became a fantastic network that then transitioned into this business very well. So when I got my license in 2018, I stepped back and kind of audited my sphere, if you will, and realized that, I know like 25 realtors, so I just started setting up meetings left and right and started just connecting with folks. And my perspective at the time was that, and it still is that business is a byproduct of relationships, not the other way around. Because we've all seen salespeople that, business is kind of the point. It's not the byproduct. And I've always taken the opposite approach that, hey, I'm here to build a relationship with people, to add value to people. And if a loan comes from that, great, but that's going to be the byproduct. That's not the point. Otherwise, people can smell a salesperson from a mile away, So my goal at that time was just reconnecting with every area of my sphere. That was my whole goal.
Did you call them, text them, snail mail? I mean, what like if somebody's getting started, or they're recalibrating their business, or they're thinking, it's been a hard 3 years, and how do I weather, right? I think you got to have a lot of grit to weather the storm that we've been in. But I also think there's something to the consistency, you bring up a good point. Maybe people are too nervous to reach out, pick up their cell phone and go through their contact list, or but it sounds like you did that, right? I mean,
yeah, for sure. I did. I just called people, texted, Facebooked, social media, did kind of a social media announcement, and that kind of got some steam. I had, people in my sphere in the comments tagging other people, tagging realtor friends. And so I would follow up with all of those folks. And again, it was very fortunate just to have a pretty good sized sphere that I could really explore and reconnect with and see what happened from there. And, my perspective also was that I just had to get a couple loans going, right? Because my perspective was that my best marketing was going to be through doing a transaction, right? I was going to be marketing to the buyer's agent, the listing agent, the title company, the insurance guy. I mean, that exposes you to a whole different sources of business potentially. So I just really wanted to get a couple loans going, obviously as many as I could, but get some business going so that I could start that snowball of trying to build relationships with folks through working with them on transactions.
Yeah, I think you bring up a really, really good point that some originators miss the mark on. Is you just said, I have all these touch points within one transaction. If I got one transaction, I had all these touch points of people that I could connect with, market with, and follow up with, and try to win their business or feed into their business, even insurance agents, right? I mean, there's a lot of times people come to you and they're like, I don't know, I'm new to the area. I don't know who I'm going to use for insurance. So that gives you a chance to say, hey, maybe you want to get a quote from this insurance agent or that insurance agent. And it gives you a chance to build that reciprocity, and so to speak, so that they'll refer you, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. I mean, again, it's all relationships. And I think us as loan originators or entrepreneurs in general can sometimes take our eye off the ball, where it becomes about what am I funding next month? Where's my next loan coming from? And it's like, that is a very real anxiety that all of us can struggle with from time to time, especially after the last couple of years. But again, that's taking our eye off the ball. Keeping your eye on the ball of just building relationships, trying to put yourself out there in as many different circles as you can is really the name of the game, I think, for getting your business off the ground.
So would you just straight up ask for a face-to-face with an agent that you were networking with? You just say, hey, I'd love to get coffee with you or chat with you or even Zoom or whatever it is. I mean, yeah. Is that what you did to get kind of going?
Yep, for sure. So a lot of times, again, it was like a friend that this one guy I got together with, I'd known him for like 15 years. I didn't even know he was a realtor. And so, so I did the social media announcement, and his wife was like, hey, did you know so-and-so's a realtor? I'm like, no way. So that was a lot of it, is just like, and that's not a hard ask, right? I knew this guy for a long time. Dude, let's get together and talk real estate. How did I not know this? So that's very easy. And that was most of it, is people in my sphere that I knew, or connections from people in my sphere, or introductions. And so that was really important for me.
Well, and to that point, if people are, some people are shy, right? They don't want to do what you do. I mean, I guess you're going to have to just put your big kid pants on and just go, because it is going to be, you're going to have days that are uncomfortable, right? Or days that you don't want to do it, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that's normal in the loan business. You get kind of worn down sometimes. I mean, it is work. This business is work. And I think any top originator I meet, the biggest thing they struggle with is work-life balance. Is mm-hmm. how do I manage that? You have 3 kiddos at home, a beautiful wife. And I wonder, for you, what does that look like? Because it sounds like you're kind of, I'm working, I'm talking, I'm networking all the time, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, and I think that was a big part of how I was able to find success, Mandi, is I had 3 young kids, and I was the breadwinner in my home, and we had no safety net. It was like, I'm doing this thing, or I don't know, I'm going back to my church job, or like my college degree was an MIS, maybe I'll do that. But we had no safety net. And so I do feel like in hindsight, that was sort of the fire and motivation I needed to get out of my comfort zone. Because believe it or not, I'm an introvert. I find my energy when I'm alone. I was just up in my cabin for like 24 hours all by myself, and it was heaven for me. Like, I loved it so much.
You got your total cup filled, and now you can come back and do it again.
Exactly. So I think that was a big part of it for me, is just realizing that, hey, I've got this young family to provide for, and I'm trying to provide a life for them and provide a future for them. And it's sink or swim, baby. We gotta do this thing. We gotta figure it
Well,
out.
a couple things you bring up. One is is a wake up call to go from rock star heaven 2021 to, oh my goodness sakes, this is a different market. And that is going to be a catalyst in the rest of your life and decision making you have as an originator. And then two, what I also hear you say is you learn from that experience and you have gratitude for it, but you won't go back, right? I have gratitude for the times that were hard for me, because they drive me in who I am in my soul, like to push me ahead so that I don't have to relive that experience. And that's what I hear you saying.
For sure. I mean, we can all learn from pleasurable experiences, not like we learn from painful experiences. I mean, pain is, I think, the best teacher. And I could tell you a whole nother story, but right before I got into this business, like right before it in 2017, so again, I got licensed at the beginning of 2018. In 2017, I went through a crazy like medical crisis, like weeks and weeks off of work. I did not know if I was going to make it through that. Like I thought my life might be over. I thought I might never be the same. So, and that's a whole different story I won't go into now, but that was the darkest time of my life. And it preceded the most fruitful years of my life in 2020 and 2021. And again, I think over the past couple years, I think this was another dark season for me of figuring out, oh my gosh, my rental properties are not going well. My income is tanking. What is this business I find myself in all of a sudden? A lot of pain, a lot of stress over the last couple of years. But I cannot tell you, I was just telling some colleagues that this is my favorite year I've had in the business yet in my 8 years. And it's not an easy market. I mean, we're not doing as much volume as 2020 or 21. Yeah. So it's not like an easy year, but it is my favorite year because I've had some pain that has been a good teacher. I've used it, I've leveraged it to recalibrate, to retool the business a bit. And I'm having more fun than ever. I'm more fulfilled than ever. And I'm more optimistic than ever about the future too.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think you've learned a new pace, right? We've learned a new pace. This is a new time in the business, and like it took you a little bit to get adjusted. Now you are there. You're like, okay, this is my new normal. So there's got to be some non-negotiables every week, though. Your work day, give us an idea what that maybe looks like, and some of the non-negotiables. You're like, if I don't do this, I don't see referrals in 60 days, 90 days down the road. I have to do today in order to win. So what are some of those things that you're like, these are my non-negotiables?
Yeah, for sure. I'll circle back to your other question too, because I didn't really answer it as far as work-life balance. Yeah. I think there's something to be said for a startup phase of a business because, the first couple years for me, again, it was sink or swim. And so it was like, if I'm not out there hustling, we're not making our mortgage payment. And so there was sort of a commitment as a family of like, hey, we're jumping into this together. This is a startup phase for our business, and we got to do what it takes to get it done. But then again, in 2021, it was a recalibration of like, okay, the business has started. Now we got to figure out how to make it sustainable and a long-term sustainable thing. So, because again, in my life, I don't define my success in life by how much volume I'm closing in a month. I define it by, do my kids love me? Does my wife love me? Like, I'm a family man, so my family is everything to me. I will sacrifice everything before I sacrifice my family. And so I think that work-life balance is super important, and just the realization of, okay, what season is your business in? Are you in startup mode where it's kind of balls to the wall, sorry to be crude, but or are you in make it sustainable mode? Now I feel like I'm in a little bit of a new startup mode where I just hired a new LO, our branch is growing, we're trying to plan for next year. So there's a little bit of startup energy still in the mix right now. And I think in each one of those stages of the business, you have to recalibrate your work-life balance, have conversations with your spouse. Hopefully you have a very supportive spouse who realizes that this is not a normal job. It's not a 9-to-5 clock in, clock out. It's like, if my realtors and clients are working, I'm working. I don't really have a choice, So there's got to be a grace and an understanding for that, and a lot of communication around it.
I think the people that deserve gold stars are the spouses of mortgage people or agents, their spouses, because we work when the people aren't working, right? Or we answer questions and it makes a difference in people's lives. I mean, ultimately, we're very, very blessed to be in the industry we're in and very blessed to have unlimited earning potential if you work hard and you show up every day and you do the hard things that nobody else is willing to do consistently. But I agree that spouse and having a good partner in your life is really important. We talk a lot about that, and I'll get to your non-negotiables in a sec, but that we talk about that a lot at our company, about those people that are going to stop you from your greatness, right? There are people in your life, whether it's an agent partner, somebody that says quit now because you're not closing any loans, quit now, but you can see it, right? You can see it on the other side. And you need people around you that believe in you in this business. I really think that that's crucial for you to win,
Agreed. I think the people in your life are either going to be an accelerant to you or they're going to be a drag to you. Mm-hmm. And it takes a lot of maturity to figure that out too.
Who they are.
A lot of emotional intelligence, a lot of experiences with different kinds of people. And as you know, we deal with all kinds of people in this business.
Yes.
We've had some pretty crazy clients and we've had some wonderful clients and everywhere in between, right? So
I can't condition for crazy. I wish we could put that on our approval letters. Can't condition for it. I don't know. But
I think in the declaration questions, right? Any foreclosures, any craziness?
Yeah, exactly. That's hilarious. Anyway, okay, so non-negotiables for you, things that you're like, I gotta knock it out of the park in order to, I gotta do these things in order to knock it out of the park, I should say. Because to me, the non-negotiables typically are they're not very fun. They're the things you do every day in order to propel your career. So what are those for you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'll start with personal because I feel like a big part of the burden that I feel leading my business, leading our branch, is I got to show up the best version of myself every day. I can have down days and I can have my ups and downs personally, but I got to do whatever's in my power to operate in the best version of myself. So for me, it starts with like an exercise regimen. I work out 3, 4, 5 times a week. I do like the sauna and cold plunge thing because I'm a northern boy. So, that's what we do up here.
You're used to the heat and the cold.
That's right. So it starts with some of those disciplines and health routines in my life that I feel like put me in a good headspace and give me the energy I need. I'm 40. I have 4 kids, so Lord knows I need what whatever energy.
You're on the run as soon as you get home too.
Exactly. So that's where it starts for me, is some of the exercise stuff. I usually do some spiritual stuff in the morning too, some meditation, some reading. So it starts there with me. As far as my weekly kind of non-negotiables, I'm a big systems and process guy. So we have really set up a well-oiled machine for our systems and processes for our clients and for our realtors. So we do discovery calls, we do mortgage master classes. And so a lot of my week is filled up with those Zoom meetings with clients, talking with them, meeting with them, going through closing estimates with them. I've gotten real maniacal about my calendar over the past couple of years, to the point that I use Calendly, I schedule everything out. In fact, I think it was from another ginormous producer that I talked with a while back, and I said, how do you do it? Like, how do you produce 100 million a year and have a work-life balance? I can't even fathom that. And they said, I just get real into my calendar. I get very, very maniacal with that. So I really took that and ran with that. And I'm trying to adopt that same thing of like, I'm trying to do a lot of business. I'm trying to fit a lot into every day, and I can only fit in as many hours as I can and have a good balance. So calendar stuff is very important. I try and do at least once a week, I try and record a video of something that I'm like experiencing on a transaction or learning, or something that I feel like is going to help my realtors. So I have a group of realtors. I have BombBomb. I've gotten okay at using CapCut, this app on your phone for it. So I try and film a video and send it to all my realtor partners once a week as just hey, we're having great success with this strategy, or hey, you may want to think about this for making offers this weekend. So I feel like that's a really good thing, a proactive thing. We talk a lot in our team about proactive things and reactive things. So easy to get stuck in reactivity in this industry.
Yes,
Client
agreed.
needs a pre-approval, realtor sending you a new client. It's so easy to get stuck in reactive things day in, day out. So you've got to carve out time for the proactive things that are going to contribute to your business in 6 to 12 months, not just 6 weeks.
Yeah, and you bring up that's such a good point that I think a lot of originators get on the roller coaster on, is because the referral that they just got, that's somebody else, that one of their agents' paychecks is super important in their life, right? You to call them right away. But you've got this fire burning over here because this client has a fire. I mean, every loan is so unique, especially now that each client is each of their situations is so unique. And so I think my thing is a lot of originators, they get stuck in the fire. They get stuck over here when they need to get out of that, get above that and see that where your prospects are and where your longevity in this business is speed to lead, calling right away, caring a lot. If it takes you 2 hours to call an agent's referral, it makes them believe that you're just too darn busy to take care of their customer, right? And even if that wasn't the intent, but that customer waiting on a estimate from you probably could wait a little longer had you set the right expectation, right?
Yep.
And you just said, I will have this to you by end of day or tomorrow. Most people, as long as you set the right expectation with them, are going to be cool. But a new customer that doesn't know you at all, they've never talked to you. So they are your number one priority.
Right.
And so you bring a very valid point up, proactive versus reactive. I love that.
Yeah. Well, and to your point, so if you call that new lead right away, well, then what do you do with the fire? Because every yes that you say is saying a no to something else, right? So you have to get really strategic with your time and what you're saying yes to when. So for instance, like if I get a new client intro, I will respond as quick as possible. I mean, sometimes within 5 minutes, but usually within an hour. I'll respond, whether it's a text, a phone call, an email, but I'm not gonna call them and try and do an hour-long discovery meeting ad hoc. And that's what I used to do for probably the first 2 or 3 years. But what I will do is I'll text them and say, hey, thanks so much for the intro. Would love to get started with you. Click on this link to grab a time that works for you. And they click my Calendly link, and they can pick a time in my calendar that I have made available proactively ahead of time. Yeah. So I'm scheduling in clients, first and foremost, what works for me. Are you familiar with Todd Duncan?
Yeah.
So he said something that's always stuck with me. He said, you want to build a business that is in demand, not on demand.
Very good.
That really stuck with me because that's hard to do in this business. You kind of feel you're on demand.
You have a lot of things that you've taken from different, you're either avid reader or Audible listener, podcast listener, or you've enlisted in some kind of coaching. Where do you get your basis for how you're running your business? Because there's systems and processes, and we all adapt those to our personal style. But I think that for me, after 22, I needed to go learn some more processes, procedures, ways to generate business. Even in my 28th year, whatever that was, 27th year in the business, I feel like I needed to learn new things in order to really be relevant. And so I hear you saying things like that. You're either a student of someone or you are being coached. Tell me, or did you learn it the hard way and you're like, I will go to YouTube University? I don't know.
All of it, right? I mean, I think you have to, and I think this is another big thing for all of us, is that I certainly feel that the older I get, the more comfortable I want to feel, and the less motivated I am to keep learning new things. And so for me, that's a big focus, is as I get older, keep the curiosity, keep the learning, and keep pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone. I feel the same way, Mandi, after the last couple of years. This year, we have a more diverse pipeline than I've ever had. I mean, we got bank statement loans, we got cash offer programs. We've got more different kinds of loans in our pipeline than any other year because we felt like we needed to diversify our product knowledge. And again, that is that is not common for loan originators. A lot of times, they'll get a question about a 203K or a USDA or something they're not familiar with, and they're scared of it, right? Because
Right.
they haven't done one. And
Right.
it's like, no, don't be. Just say yes to whatever, especially in this market, say yes to whatever you can
All
say yes to.
opportunities.
All
Yes.
opportunities, because if you haven't done it before, guess what? You're going to get an education by doing it. Um, so I feel like
Yes,
that's,
and it's like a yes and. It's like yes, and I'll learn, right?
yeah, for sure. And again, setting expectations, humility is key, right? Like
Right.
you
Very
don't
good
have to
advice.
fake it. Yeah, you don't have to fake it till you make it. You can say, hey, I think this is a great strategy for you potentially. Full disclosure, I haven't done this product yet, but I'm going to be in the trenches with you and we'll get it done together.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And expectation setting is key. Never
Yeah.
lie. Always tell the truth. It makes your life a lot easier. That's really true. So I saw on your website, was it cousins, brothers, or something like that? So
Yeah.
is your brother-in-law work with you, or your brother work with you?
Yeah, it's my brother. He's about 20 months younger than me, and I hired him at the end of 2020 because my business was blown up. And it was funny. He actually came from an acting career, so we both came from artistic backgrounds.
Very
Um,
interesting. Yeah.
so he was in an acting career that was kind of drying up due to COVID, and my business was blowing up due to COVID. So I got him right at the perfect moment. He had his second kid. Acting was good. I was like,
God's
now's the
plan
time.
was in the book. He's like,
That's
this is
right.
going down. This is
That's
happening.
right. Yeah. So I brought him on, and that's kind of been something I've done too. That's I think kind of unique. Is I've brought several people in with no industry experience. I'm actually bringing a guy on right now. It's my third person I've brought into the business with no experience. So I don't know if I recommend it. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of mentorship, a lot of guiding along the way. But I feel like our team is super special because I didn't have to unteach any unhealthy habits. I was able to just train people
Yeah.
in my way of doing things,
Yeah.
and they were a blank slate. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's my brother and I. We're both originating at this point. He's had several roles as he's kind of learned the business, but now we're very much kind of partners in the business where we each have our own streams of business that we manage.
Very cool. Yeah. So what's one trait you look for these newbie people? I mean, do you look for similar traits to what you and your brother had, or there's got to be something that makes them special that you're willing to spend that time with them?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, this guy that we just hired a couple of weeks ago, I mean, I was kind of thinking, okay, I brought Nathan, I brought two people in with no industry experience. I can't do it again. I'm too busy. Like it's not, it's not going to happen again. But then this guy came to me. He's a former client, and I've known him for, gosh, better part of 20 years, my age, and his wife became a realtor. And he was like, hey, what do you think about this? I was like, oh, shoot. I can't say no to this guy because he had a long, successful career in tech sales. So he has sales acumen and sales knowledge. So I didn't have to teach kind of the unteachables, right, of networking, relationship building. That was all great. There's a humility there. There's an approachability, a coachability. Those are a lot of the factors I look for, and just someone we can cut up with and have a good time. We have a really great culture in our branch, and you can tell pretty quick if someone's going to be a good fit for that or not.
Yeah, we call them brilliant jerks. You don't want a brilliant jerk in your world. That can ruin
Yes.
your culture, your feel, your vibe, whatever you want to call it. Amazing humans help propel you into being a better version of yourself. And brilliant jerks, respectfully, they may do a lot of loans, but I don't want them anywhere near my life because they will drain me of all my, I need a lot of goodness to do a lot of good. And so
Yeah.
I'm like, no brilliant jerks.
No brilliant
So,
jerks. I love that. I love
you
that.
bring up a really valid point. If you're listening to this, you're new, you want to get into the mortgage space. I think the thing you brought up is that Nate, I think he said, knows how to market themselves.
Yep.
Because if you can't market yourselves, it's going to be really tricky. Then you probably should start at a bank or something like that, right? I mean, because you need to be able to market yourself.
Yeah, you need it. I mean, there's kind of an it factor in this business that you can learn to a certain extent, but not to the full extent. You got to have a charisma, you got to have a passion, an excitement that is contagious. And that's sales at its best, I think. It's not trying to convince people they need something they don't need. It's just
Right.
getting excited about your product as the solution to someone's problem.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. Okay. So database, agents, really, those are your two main sources of business. Did I miss anything?
Not right. So again, this is my 8th year, and I feel like I'm just starting to really experience the repeat customer snowball. So that's really exciting to me because it feels like 20-30% of our business this year is probably repeat clients. So again, for new folks, this is year 8. And I think I don't know if that's true in your experience, but it feels like that's kind of the threshold where you start to kind of get more business from your database, from repeat clients.
Yeah, and being present, I would say that I mail my database every month, and I don't mail them for a loan. I mail them a recipe or a Yay Schools in Session or something like that. I just want. There's a stat out there that said if you did somebody's home loan and you don't stay in touch with them, whether it's an email drip or a phone call or a text message or snail mail, that even if you're doing a fantastic job, they're likely to go elsewhere if you don't stay top of mind to them. So for me, about 30% of my business does come, thank God, from database and referrals from that database of clients that I've been able to serve over the years. But I do feel like you have to work at it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You can't just be on autopilot. You got to be intentional. And there are certain things though, like I'm a big fan of HomeBot. There are certain things that drip that keep you in front of clients, but with value, right?
Yeah.
Where it's not just your hey, I'm here. It's like, no, here's an update on your equity and here's some tools on your house, on your biggest asset. So we talk about that. I think, I think one of our pieces of copy that we've used a lot is we're invested in the long game of your financial wellness, and helping you steward your biggest asset, which is your home. Yeah. Steward, that's an intentional word, right? Yeah. Not just sell you a loan, but steward your biggest asset. And that may be several loans over your lifetime, maybe investment properties. We're here as that consultant and guide for hopefully your lifetime.
Yeah. Even if I can't help you, I will help you find a solution. And that's, and that goes for agent partners too. I mean, I'll tell them, I don't care if I'm not doing the loan, call me. I don't want you to be in a mess. I want you to be I'll give you the truth. I'll give you the straight skinny, and Great. I think just being a good human and helping people, even if it doesn't result in any income for you, will result in a long time business for you in a career in this industry. Don't you agree?
Totally agreed. It just speaks to generosity. It's something I've thought a lot about, that like generosity is really underestimated in our business. There's a lot of competition. There's a lot of territorialism, right? But generosity is underrated. And to your point, if even if you're not doing the loan, being a resource to someone, just trying to help however we can. Yeah. I had a situation happen recently where there's this client I was introduced to. Followed up with her, kind of went cold on me, as they do sometimes, no big deal. Yeah. But then I heard through the grapevine, or I can't remember how I heard, or maybe she finally responded to me and said, so sorry, I haven't gotten in touch with you or scheduled a meeting with you. My husband just went to rehab. Apparently he's got an alcohol problem I didn't know about, and we're rocked. Our family's rocked. And I said, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. So I sent him a gift card. I sent him a DoorDash gift card, and I said, here's for your family. I'm so sorry to hear you're going to make it. Hang in there, Yeah. And I haven't done a loan for her. I don't know if I will do a loan for her. I don't care if I do a loan for her. That made a big impact in her life. And so I feel like just if you can get in the headspace of... That's
how you make super fans, in my opinion. You make super fans, right? Some of the people in my database that I stay in touch with, I've never done their home loan. They don't really, they've now moved on. They've got paid off everything. They don't necessarily need a mortgage, but they're super fans, and they'll call me and they'll tell their friends to call me. And so that DoorDash lady, your DoorDash friend, that's going through a struggle, even if you never do her loan, if she says, if she says you're the guy that cares about people, even when I'm not getting a home loan, that makes a business, man. That makes
For
a
sure.
business. So very,
For
very
sure.
cool of you. Very
Yeah.
cool
Yeah,
of you.
it's just that spirit of generosity that's underrated, right? If you can have generosity, humility, kindness, servant-heartedness being at the foundation of your business, that will stand out, I think.
Yes, absolutely. Well, tell me this. I know what your why is. You have now 4 kiddos, I heard you say, and your spouse. You love your team around you. I think those are all probably your why. I typically ask, like, what makes you put your boots on the ground and do it even after your hardest days? Did I get it, or is there other things that kind of are your why?
Yeah, yeah. Yep, you got it. I mean, my family's the main thing. I also think I was thinking this year about how much wealth that we've helped folks create over the past 8 years. And that's also touches on my why, because
Very
it's like,
cool.
man, like, and I mean, real estate is one of the best ways to create wealth in our country for folks. And so coming alongside folks, like, I just wonder, right? It's probably in the tens of millions at least, maybe hundreds of millions.
Crazy.
And that is a cool concept that we've been a part of creating that amount of wealth for other people.
Yeah, well, and I think that as we go into it, most people are looking at, I need this monthly payment. They're not really thinking about in 10 years from now, the equity position they'll have in this home as they pay down the principal and build that equity. And some folks aren't investing in their retirement, but home ownership allows them and forces them to invest in a asset that is something that they can use in the future, right? And I love that too. I feel very, very blessed to be in a business that provides opportunity to so many people, because America is one of the only countries that has a system like ours, right? Most systems are either controlled by the government or they're whatever they are. They're not in the US like a free trade like we are. And so I find it very fascinating to be in this business.
Yeah, for sure. And it's still true today in this market, right? Because you see all these headlines, oh, the median home price went up again, or rates are high. And the media kind of reports that information as a negative. And I think a relative texted me a headline today, and I said, wow, great news for homeowners. Yeah. Homes had great news for if you have a home, and that's what we'll be saying in 2 years and 5 years also. If you can get into home ownership when you can get in, just do it, and you'll be glad you did.
Well, and my advice is to turn off the TV. If it's bad news, a lot of that white noise around originators, you can get really sucked into the negative of that. Run your race, keep your head down, look at your path, find your lane that works for you as an originator, and go. And because if you decide that you want to listen to the news and all the bad news, it will absolutely distract you from your best greatness in this business. And that's my advice for originators, is
so good.
Turn the news off, because it's not helping you win deals. It's not helping you be a better steward, to your point, for your customers, and coach them and train them, so that they can make their payments and they get the home they need and they get the payment they need and all of those things. Right. So I turn off the news. Yeah,
that's so good. No, for sure.
What did I not hit on for your business? You thank you. You've made this really fun. I've really enjoyed our conversation.
Yeah, me too. This has been great. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, there's we could talk for days about our business. So
I just want to say props to being instrumental and being able to, I don't know if you sing, but I'm like in the 1% of people that are tone deaf. And so I'm always in awe of those people that can sing or play instruments. And I'm always fascinated. So anyway.
Thanks. Yeah, no, it's fun. It's fun. I still play the piano quite a bit, and I got my DJ rig that my teenage sons are starting to pick up a little bit now. So so it's pretty fun.
I'm happy to have a new friend in Minneapolis, right? And I'm happy that I'll be cheering for the Cousins brothers up there, and wishing you the very, very best. And I'm so grateful that you decided to be a part of this. And what we'll do is they'll record this. When the book comes out, they'll probably do a podcast as associated with it. And then, but if we need any circle back on this, like any fill-ins, we'll do a follow-up if that's cool with you.
Yep. No, again, thanks so much for the opportunity to help, and really look forward to seeing how this comes together and being a part of it however I can.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
All right. Thanks, Mandi. Have a great day.
Bye.
All right. Bye.